Alex Smith, who is the executive director of America Rising. It's a PAC that was founded back in the spring of 2013 solely for the purpose of exposing the truth about Democrats. And rather like we've been doing for the first hour of this show today, just by replaying the beginning of the Kavanaugh hearing. Alex, welcome to the program. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you so much for having me.
Happy Wednesday to you. What'd you think of the hearing yesterday?
It was indistinguishable from a circus, and that's thanks to our friends, the Senate Democrats.
Yes.
They really made a spectacle of themselves and a mockery of our system. And I think that, it's really going to not play so well with independent voters this midterm election who, want to see Judge Kavanaugh confirmed. And it's also not going to help their friends who are running in red states where people would generally consider to be this behavior to be unacceptable.
I was wondering what was going to happen because, and I made an analogy last week on my show, when Democrats were saying Kavanaugh needs to be put off because Trump doesn't have the moral authority to nominate. Well, when is he going to have the moral authority? And are you just going to leave for another 2 years, a Supreme Court seat open? And, of course, their hope is, no, we'll impeach him and convict him. Well, that's not going to happen. So now it's just dilatory tactics. Do you think they can pull that off? I mean, it took 66 days to confirm Gorsuch. And at this rate, it's going to take twice that long to confirm.
Well, look, I think that this is exactly why the Democrats are attempting to throw all of these distractions out there, because they really know that they don't have any cards left to play when it comes to this nomination. I think it looks promising that we'll retain the votes of Senator Collins and Senator Murkowski. They were Republicans that people were sort of watching for to see how they would respond. And certainly, I think, from what I was, from my understanding yesterday, they would definitely find the tactics of the Senate Democrats to be completely unacceptable. So that's, our column is good. And I think that we really do have the potential to bring over some of these Democrats who are running in red states. For Justice Gorsuch, we were able to bring over 3.
Right.
I think it's likely that we could bring over those 3 again and potentially some more. Someone like Claire McCaskill and Senator Bill Nelson from Missouri and Florida, respectively. These are 2 people who have, who are locked in tight races in states that the president won in 2016. So, if they, having voted against Justice Gorsuch, now are going to vote against Judge Kavanaugh, I think that that's going to be a huge mark against them in those states.
So maybe the Democrats' overall strategy is, hey, some of you have to act like kooks on this committee, and some of you simply have to vote no. But if you make this sounds sarcastic, but I'm not being sarcastic. If some of you make spectacles out of yourselves, as they did yesterday, it'll be easier for a nail-biting McCaskill, for instance, to vote yes.
I think what the Democrats are primarily interested in doing, in creating the kind of spectacle that they did yesterday, is rallying that base. Because, that's an important turnout mechanism for them in this midterm election. They need to make sure that their base is shored up and is fired up and is going to turn out. And, for the base, this is an important issue for them.
Sure.
And so I think that, because especially you could see, and I thought that Senator Ben Sass from Nebraska, he had a great critique of his fellow Senator Cory Booker from New Jersey, where, Senator Booker was speaking in the Senate Judiciary Committee, and almost simultaneously there was a fundraising email sent out under his name imploring Democrats to give money to stop the confirmation. So I think that, really the stall tactics are more aimed at sort of shoring up that base. And I think that it's a real problem for these senators in these red states because on the one hand, They want to appeal to independent voters who don't like that kind of behavior and want to see Judge Kavanaugh confirmed. On the other hand, though, they can't really afford to lose these radical members of their base who are going to be the volunteers and the excitement behind their campaign. So they're in a really tight spot, and it's going to be up to them to decide whether or not they want to side with a couple of, sort of fringe voters in their state, or they want to support what the majority of their state wants.
Exactly. I think they're in a giant catch-22. If they don't act like, unfortunately, if they don't act like a bunch of maniacal people, their base is not going to be fired up. However, to the extent that they fire up their base by acting this way, they also fire up the conservative base, and they repulse independents.
They absolutely do. I think that yesterday was just such an awful spectacle. The fact that the judge's daughters had to be taken out of the hearing room with escorts is just like it's a very sad symbol of where we are right now. And look, I think that as the day progressed, we saw Judge Kavanaugh's opening statement, which I thought was great. We saw these validators like Dr. Condoleezza Rice. There was one attorney there who described herself as a liberal feminist, but she implored her fellow liberals to support Judge Kavanaugh, believing that he'll uphold the rule of law. See, this is what liberals aren't used to. Liberals are used to using the judiciary as a political means to an end. The judiciary, though, for conservatives, is about originalism. It's about interpreting the law as written.
Exactly.
And we don't think about it along ideological grounds. So Judge Kavanaugh, applying those principles, might actually decide some outcomes that conservatives might not like. But it's the judicial philosophy that counts for conservatives, not what side of the ledger it ends up on.
Exactly. Very well said, and we're almost out of time. We might have you back on the show, Alex.
Anytime.
Down the road. Thank you so much, Alex Smith, the executive director of America Rising. I will post their website.